Let's talk about it.
We're going to be talking about relationships and how it affects us in this day and age and generation and all that. So my first question for y'all was, in your opinion, how are relationships looking right now for you?
I feel like for the youth, relationships are looking very toxic or very messy to the point where they will fight for their significant other or they'll get upset for their significant other even talking to another person of gender. And it's really toxic and messy, and some other people get involved, like friends or family.
I would say that relationships in our age group aren't, I'm gonna say they're not really going so well because I feel like as kids, we don't really know how to express feelings because there's some parts of the brain that's not really developed yet. And it just makes it hard for us to be in a proper relationship because no communication leads to a bad relationship. And a bad relationship is what most of us are in.
I think being in a good relationship is being there for each other and supporting each other. If you have something to say instead of always trying to get into an argument and toxicness, you could talk to the person and resolve the situation.
I think communication is definitely a very important aspect of relationships because if you don't really communicate, you're not going to know what your partner needs, wants, or how they feel at that certain moment. It could also be very one-sided. One partner can be feeling a lot of stuff, tell their partner, and the other partner will not, and they can wonder why they're so distant and all that. So it's very important. Communication is definitely key in relationships, and a lot of youth do not do that.
I think a lot of us haven't had an amazing role model or example for a healthy relationship, especially with the internet and how they're pushing stuff with being toxic or cheating is cool and having multiple females is funny. I feel like we don't have very healthy examples of what we should be looking for platonic and romantically, and how you should associate yourself with these people and how to protect yourself in these circumstances as well.
So my next question is, how come most relationships fail in general?
I feel like most relationships fail in general is over problems with another person, or if somebody comes to you is like your boyfriend's doing that or your girlfriend's doing this, and then you go to your person and it starts a big argument and you can't believe who really is telling the truth, so y'all just break up.
I'm gonna add on to what she said. It is, most relationships fail because of communication and lack of trust, lack of talking, lack of attention. I feel like if you are in a relationship, whether it's like a partner or a friend, you should give them equal attention. Because I seen friendships where it was like, it was one sided. There was one girl who always wanted to be the other's friend, and then the other friend is with other friends. And it's like, I feel if, hold on, I gotta catch my train of thought. I don't even remember what
No, keep going.
Oh, you know,
I think it's like people like to be two faces around you. They could be with another friend and start talking bad about you and then come to you and act like they're all cool and nice. Y'all should keep it for real. Be who you want to be to the person that you really want to be friends with instead of being a two-face and fake. And then when in a relationship, they be lying to each other, cheating, won't let one person see their phone because I think that they should communicate and be like that. Yeah.
I think personally, it just comes down to maturity. If one person's not mature, usually it's not going to work out because a lot of mind games, playing around, just if you play around too much, they take it personally. So emotional intelligence is a factor that you do definitely need to consider in relationships. Platonic and romantic.
I agree with what he was saying about emotional intelligence, but I feel like you can grow with your partner if you're willing to. We're all going to be immature. We're kids. So to be like, you're a kid and you're immature is kind of a crazy statement. But I feel like if you're willing to grow or try and not fix yourself for that person, but grow for yourself and that person at this point. But at the same time, it's communication. If I have a problem with something and I can't even talk to my partner about it without them being mad or something, like that should tell you that's not the person you should be with if you don't feel comfortable expressing your emotions or how you feel, your opinion, what you need from that person. If you can't tell them that, then you don't need a relationship.
I would say that the environment in, like, I seen love or witnessed it is like at home because most people start off with parents. But
I hope some of us.
but I would say it started there, and from what I personally experienced, I didn't grow up with a good example. It was mostly arguing, fighting in the house, and when you grow up with that, it takes a toll on your relationships because you don't really know what to do. You don't know what healthy communication is. You don't know how to resolve conflicts without fighting. You don't know how to resolve conflicts in a peaceful way. And so,
I feel like I've learned my relationship and how to be in one from my family and my own family members. And my family is not good on relationships. My family is very toxic. My household is very aggressive, always yelling and everything. So I feel like I don't have good relationship skills, and I have learned that, but I'm trying to grow and get my own relationship skills instead of focusing on and doing the same thing as my parents used to do.
Well, I think I would say it would also start with siblings because most of the time you're with siblings and it can get messy, fighting, putting your hands on each other, not having good communication to like talk to them when there's a problem.
Relationships, for me, it's either parents or first a grade school. The depends on how you come up from your childhood. And I'd say a way you can help build on those relationships is just experience. You just start communicating to the people. Just start talking to people. Express how you want to be seen. And for the most part, that's how I feel.
For my environment, I don't know. I grew up as a little boy. It was usually by now, not gonna lie. I didn't really have too many chances to get into learning how to actually be in a relationship. So I say learn from your mistakes and then upgrade and then with a partner. Because self love is the best love.
amen.
I think anywhere you go to learn, so that's school, home, anywhere that you're in the majority of your day. Because when you're younger, you're at school for 8 hours a day. You come home, eat, and go to sleep. So I feel like a lot of your lessons are from where you are most of the time. Of course, you get things from parents and whatever is happening at home, but there's also the aspect of school, social media, anywhere that your attention is 90% of the time. And for most people, is also in other environments, and it's just we don't really speak on relationships in a good way. It's supposed to be messy, it's supposed to be dramatic, and I feel like a lot of people catch on to that point instead of I just don't know why you want to be in a negative environment or in a negative relationship.
On how it's supposed to be negative instead of loving.
What catches on the internet is like, oh, I'm cheating on my boyfriend, he doesn't know, instead of this is how you should treat your boyfriend or your woman. Being negative is such a trend in this generation, and it's great. It just doesn't make sense. But
I feel like it's like the lack of accountability. How you treat your partner, you're trying to justify it. I feel like that's something we see a lot on the internet.
How do you guys build friendships?
Like common interests. Find social groups that have a common interest. Whether it be gaming, chess, something, or schoolwork. You can be a nerd.
I feel like there's a difference between females' relationships and males' relationships. You can go up there, you gonna play Fortnite? No. But
It's definitely different.
I feel like also females, I hate to say this, but recently we really have the crabs in a barrel competition. What does she have that I don't? Why is my dude looking at her? Why is this and that? I don't have that shape, she does. And it's like, I feel like we need to stop comparing ourselves to each other and start thinking more critically. When I go to school and I'm like, hey girl, and they're like, hey, she looks funny. What? I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I feel like we just need to stop worrying about what the other person has going on. You should know what you got going on, be cool with that, and let them go about their life. When I see a pretty girl, my first thought is, oh, I want to be friends with her, not, I wonder how I can tear her down. That's just, I don't know.
I would say that a way that I built friendships, me and Didi, I don't even remember how we became friends. We've been friends for so long, but in most my friendships, it started off with a compliment. That's how most of my friendships have started off. Oh, you so pretty. Hey, your body is tea. Hey, that's how most of my friendships have started off, with something nice.
I feel like most of my friendships start off from me being introduced to the person. That's how me and Audrey met, from our friend group, which is me, her, and my other friend. We're all best friends. And we all have some things in common, but not all the time. And we have learned how to, instead of being toxic towards each other and getting angry and always arguing, to solve our problems together and talk about it instead of yelling at each other like we're crazy. And I feel like I've grown more friendships with a couple of people here, Rain, some of y'all. And I'm glad
Some of y'all.
I'm glad that I've grown friendships with all of y'all, and y'all are great people to be around.
I feel like another key point is when you start a relationship off hatred, it's not gonna go nowhere. When you're like, oh, I hate her. I hate her too. Let's be friends. Like, I feel like that is just a dramatic and complicated relationship just to start off with. When you start things bonding on your dislike or negative something, it's gonna end up negative. Now, like you said, if you start with oh, you're so pretty, for real, like, I understand that relationship grows into something positive. You start with negative, you're gonna end with negative always.